To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start off with our recognitions tonight. And we have portrait of the microphones. No? Yep. We'll start off with our recognitions first. We have portrait of a graduate. We'll start off with Tiger Paw Early Learning Center, Dr. Dawson.
Good evening. Is this on? I'll use my teacher voice. Okay, tonight we have Mr. Nate Chapman. Stand right here so they can see. Mr. Nate was nominated by one of his teachers, Miss Liz Ruggieri. She's not able to be here tonight, but she wrote something about why she nominated him. We're doing critical thinking tonight, so this was the reason Nate was nominated. She reported that Nate is always eager to learn. He is happy and willing to try new things in the classroom. He is never afraid to model for those students who are more reserved with new experiences. He follows the group plan and is not fazed when the plan is changed. So I also know Mr. Nate. He's been at Tiger Paw. This is going on his 3rd year. And he has made so much progress. And so he just had his kindergarten screening and he's moving on up, but he has done such an amazing job. And so I'm really excited to honor him tonight.
North Elementary, Dr. Wallace.
Good evening. Give this another try. Maybe not. It's okay. We'll use our teacher voices too. So, guys, I'm really privileged and honored to present our North Elementary Resilient Student of the Month. This is Miss Finley Kirby, a kindergartner. Miss Lundeen, our teacher, we had the opportunity to meet her in summer school, and so Miss Lundeen is going to speak to some of the specifics as to how she earned this resilient trip.
Good evening. This is my sweet girl, Miss Finley, and I got to know her in kindergarten summer school, and she was very shy. Because of her shyness, she didn't talk to very many kids or other adults. But fast forward to this spring, and she is such a resilient young lady. Now Finley comes in happy and ready to work. She asks questions to clarify things and is much more interactive with other students and with me. I appreciate her flexibility as she's able to sit by students who aren't always kind. But she's always kind to them and shows positivity to everybody in our classroom. I love watching her learn as she is becoming a great writer and reader. I'm proud of Finley's resilience and love her eagerness to learn and share what she has learned. Congratulations, Finley, on being my Tiger of the Month for resilience and flexibility.
And next is Ozark South Elementary, Dr. Roy.
It is always such an honor to bring to you a special student from South, and tonight is certainly no exception. I have with me James Bartok. He is a 4th grader in Mr. Gerard's class. He is being recognized for being a critical thinker. I have a message from his teacher. Mrs. Gerard couldn't be here this evening, but she wanted to make sure to share some of the things that makes James a great nominee for critical thinking. She says, "I am beyond proud of James and all his accomplishments this year. He is one of the most hardworking students that I have had the honor of teaching. He possesses a tenacity for driving into his schoolwork with grit and determination to make sure he is doing his work completely and accurately. James is not afraid of asking tough questions and tackling the more rigorous problems he comes across." That is wonderful. In addition to that, James is also our top tiger. So what makes him the top tiger is our related arts team. They come together and they look at all of these nominees and they choose one to be the top tiger. And so James was the top tiger as well. And Mr. Chalice wanted to share a few things about him as well. And so he said, "James is always thinking and finding new ways to solve problems. He likes to be challenged and consistently assumes leadership during group work. James thinks differently and creatively." Great job, James.
Nice.
East Elementary, Ms. Caven.
Hello, thank you for having us tonight. We are highlighting Mr. Graham Brown tonight as East Portrait of a Grad representative. Graham is being celebrated for his empathy and flexibility. He is always noticing how others are feeling and does what he can to make life easier for all those around him. His teacher couldn't be here tonight. She was really sad that she's at the high school play. But she does have some special words to share about his flexibility and kind, empathetic heart. Graham has been such a fun student to spend this year with, and he shows his flexibility to me and his classmates daily. I can always count on him to safely transition from one activity or place to another, even when we are in a hurry. He knows to listen to school staff members whenever he goes, and shows respect to them both in how he interacts with them and follows through with their requests. He is reliable, a great helper, and is always willing to do jobs or run small errands when I ask him to. On the playground, I can always count on him to be safe, inclusive, and respectful to everyone, whether they are a close friend or a new student. I'm so proud of Graham for all his hard work so far this year, and I appreciate the opportunity to highlight him, even though I couldn't be there. And his teacher is Miss Carrie Rainey, first grade.
This is Caden Brewer, and he is a third grader in Mrs. Gregorio's class, and Mrs. Gregorio has the following to say about Caden. If we view resilience as the ability to withstand adversity and bounce back from difficulty, there is one student with one extraordinarily strong and kind heart that comes to mind. Being resilient does not mean you never experience stress, emotional upheaval, and hard times that are out of your control, but that you have the ability to work through those challenges, and in Caden's case, emerge even stronger. Caden comes into school each day striving to be a leader and ready to make the very best of any situation. His kindness and emotional intelligence makes him an outstanding friend and teammate. Caden uses every setback and incorrect answer as an opportunity to learn and grow. With the pace of a third grade classroom, Caden works hard to pay close attention to the lessons and his past work to help him build new knowledge and approaches learning with positive enthusiasm. He welcomes feedback and uses it in such mature and constructive ways. Caden takes everything he has learned and grown through to help his peers build their confidence and continues to make improvements each and every day towards his academic and leadership goals. With his tenacious, loving spirit and his never-ending resilience, Caden is destined to do great things in this world.
Good evening, everyone. So I've got a few individuals to introduce here. We do have our teachers here with us tonight. So first off, over along to my far right is Miss Gwen Gerard, and she is one of our ELA teachers. And we have Miss Alexis Ennis, who's our business tech teacher. But our individual to highlight tonight is Mr. Maddox Nims. And I'm gonna have Miss Ennis share a little bit from our business tech side why we selected Maddox this month.
All right, so Maddox is actually not in my business class, but because of the way we have our afternoon set up with hyper focus enrichment, he really wanted to be in technology, and so his teacher and I worked out a way for him to come to me if he's great with his work and he's doing amazing. And so that's how Maddox has entered into my world, and he has rocked it from day one. He's learned how to 3D print pretty amazing designs, his own designs. Sometimes our printer couldn't handle his designs, and so they just kind of fell apart where they wouldn't go. And he persevered. He was flexible, he adapted, he created, you'll find out later, some things that he's made, and that is why he's flexible and adaptable. So, really appreciate you, Maddox.
Ozark Junior High, Dr. Lee.
Good evening. It's like being in an assembly, get your microphone back. So I have Heath Hansen here with me tonight. He's an 8th grader at Ozark Junior High. He's on Team North America. And his team of teachers nominated him for resiliency for this month as our Portrait of a Graduate Student of the Month. And when they talked about resiliency for you, they were talking about overcoming obstacles and challenges. And some of the things that they shared with me was earlier in the year, battled through having a broken arm, battled through quite a bit of sickness. But in all of that, you adapted to those challenges and didn't let that get in your way of maintaining your grades, maintaining your relationships, and being a light in the classroom. And if you look at him, this smile on his face is all the time. That's who he is. And I think when you talk about resiliency, that's you. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've seen it. Just a few months ago, his family's farm, they had their barn burned down. Okay, bad deal. But in all that, it didn't stop you guys. You got to make sure that you took care of your livestock, your animals. You kept the property going, and you got a brand new, beautiful barn up. They even had a party in it for their grandma, DJ music and all. So when you talk about resiliency, that's part of the family. They keep it going, they keep it positive, they find those lights to shine, and that's who you are. And I appreciate you bringing that to Ozark Junior High and making it a better place for kids and for the teachers and for the staff. Thank you for helping our culture at Ozark Junior High.
Good evening, it's a pleasure to introduce you to Miranda. This is mine.
Yes.
I was way in the back, I couldn't tell which one they were doing. It is a pleasure to introduce to you tonight our portrait graduate from Finley River School. When our team first got together and we knew all the words, no one missed a beat, and we said, hey, that resiliency word is going to be Miranda, right? So we knew many months ago who our choice was going to be, because Miranda embodies all those characteristics every day. Her story is long and winding, and I know a small amount of it, and there's all kinds of reasons that she could have given up and not cared about school or just even being a good person. And Miranda comes in our doors every single day with a positive attitude and a willingness to learn, sometimes a little sleepy, but she gets over that. And she's a pleasure. She truly is the reason that teachers get into education and enjoy it. And I feel like I get so much more than she is out of the deal. She said I could share this story. Miranda has struggled a little bit with some dental issues, and this year it got pretty bad. And on a Wednesday, she had 7 teeth pulled, all of her upper teeth and others. And she came to school on Friday and worked. It was like, Miranda, why are you here? But she just said, no, I'd rather be here, and she paced herself. And I thought, I want to be like Miranda when I grow up. So we love Miranda Clemens, and she's definitely resilient.
Good evening, this is Lena Anderson, and she is our portrait of a grad for resilience and flexibility. And Mr. Ryan Edwards, who's one of our science teachers, has some amazing things that he wrote about her that I'm going to share with you. So Lena routinely displays the characteristics of resilience and flexibility, as is evident through her capstone project. Lena has a deep passion for wildlife and outdoors, and she wanted to complete a project that allowed her to help spread this passion. Her first attempt at a project was a renovated courtyard for the high school. She collected teacher and student survey data indicating a desire to have an outdoor learning space. Well, the grant didn't come through, so that project changed. Her second project involved working with the city of Ozark to develop signage for a native plant garden installed at Garrison Springs earlier in the year. However, after creating the work, the native plant garden had to be relocated due to changes at Garrison Springs, and the sign would have to wait. She didn't give up, folks. Not getting too discouraged, Lena decided to grow native plants and create her own display garden. After growing her own plants, she reached out to OTC Richwood Valley campus and is in the process of creating a native plant demonstration garden there. Lena plans to attend there in the fall and is looking forward to tending her garden through college. While Lena had to change paths multiple times during her capstone, she never changed her direction. The sharing of passion for Missouri's wildlife, she plans on majoring in biology with hopes of someday becoming an entomologist. Thank you, Lena.
Are we going to step out from photos? One photo. Okay, one photo.
Ozark High School's capstone project presentation. And next we have our Ozark High School capstone project presentation. This is from our BOE Meeting.
Yeah, it's live now.
Okay. So tonight I wanted
Thought
to.
they'd probably wait. Oh my goodness. Hold 1 second. Please do that, that's perfect.
So this is our very first group of capstone students with the Ozark Academy. So we're very, very proud of them, pleased with what they've done. I was just talking to a couple in the back and I said, you guys are the pioneers. They were the ones that, to start this, and they talk about a resilient group. Every one of them could have been the portrait of a grad. So there are 23, actually 24 with an early grad. So 24 students completed a capstone project this year. We have all sorts of different projects. We have some students that created small businesses and nonprofit organizations. We have audio and video productions. We have a school event that was planned, or 2 school events actually. And then we also had projects, numerous projects that involved bettering the community or the school in some way. So we're very, very proud of all these students. All of them are up on the board there, but they are very, very busy people, and not all of them were able to come tonight. So if you guys would just kind of wave when I say your name. We have Anna Idell, Madison Essery, Arden Taylor, Cameron Parker, Easton Beasley, Maddie Beeman, Ian McCracken, Daniel Laney, Rachel Devine, Lex Nichols, Iggy Lipton, Lena Anderson, Emma Rowlett, Rebecca Gallo, and Ayla Holbert. Did I miss anyone? Awesome. So we're so proud of these students, and we're so proud of these students for creating these capstone projects. We do have displays out in the gallery if you're able to look at those later or maybe before. So thank you all, and thank you students for doing such a great job this year. I forgot to recognize my fellow Academy team, I'm so sorry. Mr. Albert Bryant is back there, and Mr. Andy Thompson, and then we also have Jody Samsonak, Jeremy McCoy, Brian Edwards, and Jerry McCoy, and Daniel Rickard. So thanks to them also.
Okay, next we have our board member recognitions. Let's see here. So we have outgoing board members, Mr. Aaron Johns. We have.
Oh, thank you. Use this for just a minute.
Thank you for your service to the board, Mr. Aaron Johns, since 2009, I think. So thank you for your dedication to kids and always helping the school board. We appreciate you so much for your years of service. Would you like to say something?
I thought so.
Different ones that came up to me tonight said, "Are you sad?" I said, "No, I'm as happy tonight to go off as I was when I signed up 15 years ago." And I truly mean that. Funny story, when I first ran, everybody would come up to me and say, "What's your agenda? What's your agenda? Agenda, agenda, agenda." And I heard that multiple times, and I'm thinking, wow, to be on the school board, you must have to know a lot about agendas. So I Googled, and I asked my wife, and I asked some of my smart friends what all this was meaning, and they were like, well, they want to know if you're going to fire the superintendent, or get rid of a coach, or a principal, or a teacher. And it floored me when I heard that, to think that you would run for a great cause because you had a negative reason or going to make a negative impact upon your school. And so I encourage the board members that are coming in that I can assure you that our superintendent and her staff, she's our direct employee, for those of you that don't know that, In the 15 years that I've been here, I can honestly stand up here and tell you, and I'll fight anybody that speaks otherwise, is that it's all been upbeat, nothing's been swept under the rug. It's all in the open that can be discussed other than personnel issues, and those cannot be because of the state law. But I just want to say to all you students and parents that have kids coming up, that if you put academics first, everything else falls into place. And that don't matter after you graduate from a trade school, college, or wherever it is. If you study to better yourself, everything else falls into place. And I'm going to brag on two guys that have really inspired me over the last few years. And those are my two adult boys. And then I'll finish. Both of them were in athletics, JROTC, loved extra activities and did well in. But they stayed after it and studied. And for one, it came easy, and for the other, it didn't. And he was like me, he had to work his rear end off to get where he's at, but he knows where it comes from. And now he is helping special need kids at Branson schools. He knows what it is, how difficult school can be, but he came from a loving home, and many of those kids don't come from loving homes. My youngest son really made me proud and really made me tear up. 2 nights ago, when he received his pinning for pharmacy, he's got his 3 years of classwork in. He has a year left of clinical rotations, and he'll be state-approved pharmacist, and he's in the top 20% of his class, so I'm proud of him. All I'm going to say is that if you just do what's right and put academics, since we're in an educational setting here, that you'll have ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but it's been an honor to support, and I appreciate all the patrons that have supported me in the 15 years. I've been so blessed. You'll never know. And I hope that some of you someday can receive the same blessing that I received by being involved with public education. So other than that, Sarah, here's the mic. I'm going to stay around and see who wins, the president and vice president.
Next, Patty Quisenberry. Patty, thank you so much for your service over the past, since 1998. 97, thank you for your commitment to kids, students, always, and to the school for your years of service. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything you've given us. And you have your gift. Would you like to say something? Of course, yes.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to give a shout out to all those that are here tonight, but I also want to thank those that I've watched grow up in the school district. For 27 years, I saw teachers grow to become administrators, go on to do other things. So many of you get your doctorate or your master's, your doctorates, but it's like looking out at my kids. I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about my adult kids. I love all of you. The friendships that I've built over the years, I can never repay. But to be with the students and work with the students from the little ones, to get to go read to them, to go to Finley River School and listen to those kids tell their stories, sit on the floor with them while they talk about what they've been through, but what their goals are. To graduation night, when they walk across the stage and you can hand them that diploma, that's my reward, that's my payment, is to get to be able to be a part of that. I know things didn't go like I wanted to last week, but I have come to the realization that God has a bigger plan for me. And I want you to know that I stand here today strong and will always support public education, our students, the teachers. You need that, teachers. I love you, I respect you, and all the staff members and all the administrators that I've worked with over the years. I've actually served, I think this is the 6th superintendent. The first superintendent, I was actually PTA president, but I felt like I was part of his rank too. We discussed a lot of things, but I saw a lot of changes. I've shared this desk with a lot of board members, and I wish you all the best. I hope that all of you will get along well. I welcome the 2 new board members coming on. I pray that you come with understanding and willingness to learn what it means to be a school board member. That you have success, but most of all, that you all work together to make Ozark schools greater than it is now. I've seen it change from 3,000 students when I come on the board. Now we have over 6,000 students. We have almost 1,000 staff members. Ozark is amazing. Don't stop. I'm still here. I'm a volunteer. Remember that, teachers, if you need my phone number to come and help in your classroom or read to the kids, I'm here. Administrators, if you need me to file papers or whatever, I'm here. You're not getting rid of me that easy. So thank you for the wonderful years. Love you all.
All right, next we have accept the certified results. And let's see here. I need a motion to accept the certified results of the April 2nd, 2024 election. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve or certify the results of the 2024 election.
Okay, motion by Guy,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next, I just want to say thank you for letting me serve as your president over the past 2 years, and I'm going to now appoint Dr. Lori Wilson as our chairman pro tem.
Should I come right here and sit?
So now we will swear in the new board members, and I will read the oath, and then you will say, oath of directors. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution? Yes, please, thank you. Do you solemnly swear that you support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director and for district number R6, County of Christian, State of Missouri, to the best of your ability, according to law, so help you God? Congratulations, you may take a seat. Our next duty is to elect 24-25 board president. We will now take nominations for the 24-25 board president. Do we have a nomination at this time?
I nominate Mr. Mark Jenkins.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Sarah and a second by Amber to elect Mark Jenkins as the 24-25 board president and close nominations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Mr. Jenkins, you are now the president.
Thank you all. We'll now take nominations for the 2024-2025 board vice president. Do we have any nominations at this time?
I nominate Amber Bryant.
And I'll second that.
Nominations, motion was made by Sarah, seconded by Guy.
to elect Amber Bryant as our 2024-2025 Board Vice President. And nominations are closed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, Amber.
Okay, I believe the next step is board treasurer, and just for a little bit of background, the board is annually elected to appoint the CFO as the treasurer. Selection of the treasurer and secretary of the board from the district staff is a recommendation from the MSBA for districts our size due to the large responsibilities of this position. So it is my recommendation to appoint Robert Hedgeworth, who is our new CFO for next year, as board treasurer for the 24-25 school year.
Do we have a motion to appoint Robert Hedgeworth as our 2024-2025 board treasurer?
So moved.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Sarah, second by Guy. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? None. Next is our board secretary.
Okay. Once again, it has been common practice to appoint a district staff member as a secretary of board due to the responsibilities and duties of this position. It is my recommendation to appoint Barbara, and I'm so sorry, Barbara, Lucancilio, that close, okay, as board secretary for the 24-25 school year.
Do we have any motions to make Barbara our board secretary? I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name.
I'll nominate Barbara to be our board secretary.
I'll second.
Motion by Guy, second by Christina. All in favor? Any opposed? Next on the agenda is to elect our MSBA board delegate. Now taking nominations to elect our MSBA board delegate. Do we have any nominations at this time? In the past, we've sent newly elected board members to that position as board delegate and board alternate. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate James Gervin.
James Gervin as our board delegate to the MSBA.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Nomination by Sarah, second by Guy. All in favor of James? All in favor of James being our board delegate to the MSBA? Any opposed? Next is our alternate delegate, in case James is not able to attend.
That would be Mr. Justin Kirkman.
That's an easy target.
Motion's been made by Sarah, second by James. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. That ends this section of our board agenda. Next is our request for district patrons to speak to the board. First up is Mr. Tyler Gant.
My name is Tyler Gant. I have 4 kids here in the district, and I'm here today to give my concerns regarding the board narrative, specifically the section on bullying and discipline data review. I do not see anywhere in the submitted documents that address the statistics of bullying by school employees. The school district has clear policies in place to address this issue. However, from my personal experience, those have not been enforced or encouraged. I have been prohibited by the school attorney and specific administrators from referencing names, so these statements are lacking specific and crucial details, which is nothing more than a continuation of protecting the bully and not helping the victim. My child was clear and communicated to their principal and the school counselor. I have been very clear with administrators from the beginning. I have communicated clearly what the issues are, who they are with, and some of the impact that has happened. Was this addressed? No. I have zero reason to believe that it was. Each time I was told, thank you for the information. I clearly understand the actions are not going to be shared with me. However, when we continue to have the same issues, I reach out again only to face the same response. I am left with no other option than to believe that nothing was addressed, or to be told by building administrators that the issues are with my child's perception. How are you supposed to perceive being told by a teacher that they are disappointed in you for being a quitter and they expected better out of her, after they had to drop the class when they kept experiencing bullying from the same teacher? Since when did an acceptable form of addressing the issue become victimizing the victim? I have spent countless hours reading school board policy, trying to navigate the broken reporting system, making phone calls, text messages, and now well over 50 emails back and forth over the last 9 months. And to what outcome? I get, oh, you can't speak to that because it uses a name or it reflects a negative on an employee. It can't be an open session, the excuses go on. I am not honestly sure as a parent how many other ways I can be told that my concerns don't matter, that the treatment of my child doesn't matter, or that we simply don't want to hear from you. I have even been told by an individual that board members are not permitted to talk to me. The selective interpretation of the law to meet the desired outcome is appalling. The only thing I wanted for my child was a learning environment that was safe and free from harassment and bullying. The issue my child has had to face this past year, their senior year, is not acceptable on any level. We have tons of good stories and experiences to share over the past 13 years. We love Ozark Schools, and we continue to have our other 3 kids here because we believe in the opportunities they have. But something is broken. My child only tried to do what was right by bringing this to light, only to experience clear retaliation, increased bullying, and intimidation. We trust our administrators to ensure that our kids are safe on all levels. We elect our school board members to represent us and to ensure that administrators and teachers are doing the right thing. But you have failed my child, and you have made it very clear that that is okay. This was not an isolated incident. Multiple parents have brought concerns forward only to fall on deaf ears. And even if there is an isolated incident, would that make it okay? Zero tolerance means zero tolerance, not 90% tolerance. The system is broken, and for the sake of the kids entrusted to your care, it has to be fixed. Thank you.
Next is Mrs. Emily Gant.
My comments are also in regards to the board narrative section on bullying and discipline data review. It doesn't seem to matter how well we word it or how much we advocate for our child. Administration has sat there collecting data like it mattered, but when it came to bullying, the zero tolerance policy should be enough. Our child has lost their love for music because of one person's treatment towards them and our school's absolutely irresponsible dealings with this situation. We are talking about a 13-year school career of someone who has always been responsible and extremely respectful to their teachers with a 4.3 GPA. Our child stood up for themselves and tried to protect and advocate for their peers by contacting a principal and school counselor. What did our child get? Nothing. In fact, our child lost over and over again. They had to lose Jazz. They had to lose Making State because of how worthless they felt. Our child lost confidence in their ability to perform. They haven't played at the home since before Christmas. They don't like being in band anymore because of one person. The student who rose into leadership roles during their junior year and was thriving came crashing down with low self-esteem only months into senior year. I'm angry. I'm angry that our child's bravery to say this is happening wasn't enough. their peers saying that it was happening wasn't enough. Accounts from adults and teachers weren't enough. Our child stepping up again to say, it's still happening, it's still not enough. We sent emails, phoned, and showed up over and over again, even in the middle of a workday, to try to get someone in admin to say, that's enough. Our child and their peers have been put down and humiliated countless times. At its height, our child was verbally harassed, after which we were outrageously informed that it was our child's perception of the bully that was actually the problem. Isn't this worthy of investigation? Our school says no, because they have intentionally withheld information and even went as far as to lie to the school board to protect themselves and their lack of stopping it at the beginning. Is this victim worthy of support? Our school says no, because once again, not once did they recommend that our child see a counselor in or outside the school. But my husband and I immediately took action for our child's mental health. Isn't this behavior worthy of correction? Our school says no, because nothing productive was done, and apparently reality can be written off as perception. Board members, you represent us.
That's right.
The school works for you. Please don't forget that.
Mr. William Downing.
I also want to address the student discipline and data record, and especially relating to bullying. In the 22-23 school year, we started to get involved with the goings on of the Ozark School. We were just retired down here, but we had our friend whose kids were being bullied, and they were punishing the kid, but not the bully. And we went to investigate this. We found out that the school had no records of the meetings between the parents and the school teachers and the administration. This is why we got involved, and something was not right. And we started reading policies and stuff like that, and to find out what's going on. And the school has policies on bullying, but are they being followed? If you look at the statistics on the incidents by type actions in page number 4. The fourth one down is bullying and cyberbullying. In 22-23, we had 13 incidents. And in 23-24 school year, I guess that's so far, we only have 14. So we have 6,000 kids in our school system, but only, 13 or 14 bullying incidents. So why is this an issue if we're only having 13 or 14 bullying incidents? It's an issue because it's being covered up. It's not being reported. It's not being taken care of in a timely manner. And kids are deserting the school. I want to see my friends' kids come back in the school. But, so this is, are they not being reported, or maybe they're solved before they're being reported, not by most of the parents. And I did a little thinking about this, and I found out that where my opinion is that the source of bullying is not the school. School isn't to blame for the bullying. they're the blame for what they do about it. But our culture is degrading. When you go around the country, bullying is a huge problem in a lot of schools. And it's gonna get even bigger and bigger here if we don't address it. And, you know, we can make an environment that discourages bullying, or we can make an environment that encourages bullying, like some schools do. And that may be like one instance we got here, where the bully does not get punished, but the person being bullied is the one being punished. So we have our culture is coming from outside. We have a culture that's deteriorating. This is accepted in the culture, and it's invading our culture. When it invades our culture here in school, it invades our community. And this is something that can't be solved unless it's solved in the community. And what we have to do is work with the parents, work with the families, get more and more parents involved, keep records. And this is something that really is detrimental to a lot of students who really would love to have a great education. Thank you.
Next item of business is, new business is change orders.
Before we talk about resilience, and I want to thank Jacob, and he's going to be embarrassed, but he is working relentlessly to get this system back up and going, so I do appreciate his resilience. So we have a great opportunity today. This is one of the reasons, probably the greatest reason we went with a construction manager at risk versus a hard bid. Gives us an opportunity to plan items ahead that we're not sure if we can fit in based on pricing and the sub bids, the subcontractor bids, and honestly just the way the work goes. So if you could please click on, that right there. We'll go through a quick presentation. I say quick, I want to make sure all the board members understand. This is not just for the new board members. This is the accumulation of saving throughout the project. So as we look at this, thank you. There we go. We have 2 change orders this month. And one of them, the first one, is a decrease of the high school storm shelter by $1 million. The overall contract amount was $5,248,171. We have some allowances for rock that we're going to talk about in a minute that we didn't use. So when we take that out, we say we're going to transfer that money, that $1 million, that contract amount goes down to $4,248,171. The goal of a CMAR is to save us money. And in the process of saving money, we build in projects that we would like to accomplish if we reach that goal. One of those projects was the improvements in the entrance and parking at the Ozark Middle School, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But that was our number one. We based that on safety. If you've ever driven that parking lot and tried to turn on and off and in, we have buses that cross traffic. We worked and we had a bus or a traffic flow study done. And before we even started the bond projects, one of the things that we did is we used the district capital funds to build a bus parking lot for drop off and pickup. That did improve it, but it was only 1/2 of the original plan. So we feel that moving this $1 million from one project to the other, it does not increase the overall dollar. We're moving $1 million from one project to the other. This allows us to do that project we're talking about just a minute. And I want to make sure you understand that this is not magic money. Okay, we passed a bond for $19 million. We have $19 million in that account to pay for these projects. But we don't know everything when we start building. And the example we're going to use is the high school storm shelter. When we started that, we listed it as, ideally, we were going to build, the first iteration was coming off of the current press box, we were going to do a 2-story building. One story was the activity center, and the other story was the storm shelter. Our architects and our construction manager at risk looked at it, and they said, we like what you're thinking, but it'd be cheaper to go with 1 story. So you split those two off. So we split the storm shelter off, put it on its current location, and we moved the indoor activity center to where that retention pond is. Still being good stewards of the money and looking at the project, Julie Snyder, our architect, an engineering firm, RTM, did some dirt work. They looked at the ground, they did I forget how many cores they did, but they determined that the topography there was not suitable for putting the new building there, the indoor activity center. At the same time, we're looking at the storm shelter as a 2-story building. 2 things happen. You have to put in an elevator, which is a huge expense in any project. Likewise, it was because of the height to do the 2 stories, the pre-stressed manufacturer came in and said, these are the new requirements that we're going to place upon you to do that. Thicker walls, bigger T's, slab had to be deeper, your footings had to be deeper, bigger. So we said, when I say we, Julie Snyder, Ranco got together, they redesigned it. So instead of being 2 stories, it became 1 story. But we were able to fit in all the activities and all the projects that we had originally anticipated. So through that process, we did save money, but we came up with different ideas. In doing that, one of the big things, if you look on your presentation or over here, it's under a high school, you have COW, general conditions and allowances of $1.48 million. When we built the high school, if you were here, there was a lot of dynamite going off. They had to blow away a chunk of the hill. When we built the multi-purpose facility, we could not dynamite like they had, but we still had rock problems, so they did micro charges in dynamite. We anticipated that we were going to hit a very similar topography. We were very fortunate in that one corner of the building and one area of, I don't remember if it was the water line or if it was electrical, that we ran into rock. So we have an allowance of $1 million that we did not use. But we can use that on another project to build the new entryway and fix the parking lot issues at the middle school. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you, just want to show you, because as you look at this, there's a lot of money left in allowances. So what are some of those allowances? Currently at Tiger Paw, we have a remaining balance. The first 2 are for the precast, a $25,000 and a $15,000. We also have unsuitable soils, which if you think about when we were doing Tiger Paw, we found a cistern that nobody knew was there. That falls under unsuitable soils. So thankfully we had some money in the allowance. We still have some money in the allowance. And then that last line, which is on all of them, is there are things that it takes to do a building that are not as attractive as everything else. There's your outhouses, there's your trash receptacles, there's sealing of a building when it rains and you're not ready for it, heating a building that doesn't have a heating system in it yet. So all of that is built into an allowance. Luckily, we've had some good weather. We had some great weather this winter. 1 week of super cold, but outside of that, it was a decent winter. So we have money left in all of those. So I don't want to go through all of these items, but I do want you to show you, and this is on the board docs, where you can see that all of this is accounted for in allowances. And also on that screen, we have things where we talk about every month, our contingency. And we have contingency left in all these projects. So the money is there. We have these projects we want to accomplish. And the one that we're bringing to you tonight is improving access to the parking. And what this process does is it does many things. First and foremost, when you do buses, you do not want buses and cars dropping off and picking up in the same area. That's why we built the bus drop-off, the bus lot, about 3 years ago. And we started rerouting, but we still have to fix the routing problem to keep the cars on the west side of the parking lot and buses on the east side of the parking lot. That way, students that are leaving the building do not have to cross traffic. So if you notice that as you come in off of NN on the south side, you come in and now you start double stacking, which they currently only do in about 2 or 3 lanes. This allows us to have 161 vehicles lined up there, which will meet our need. And it keeps those 2 separate. It also improves the exit and entrance. If you look at it now, and a bus comes in and you're trying to exit, that's a pretty tight swing. So it's going to increase the radius of the turn and give us an opportunity to bring those buses to where they belong and keep them separate from the cars. The other thing that this parking lot does, and I say parking lot, but it does much more than that, is right now we have a problem. It's actually a great thing for some, but then it turns into a problem. Parents start to come and pick, and it's not only middle school, it's every building. They want to be the first one to see their kid, which is great. But that could start backing up an hour before we drop off kids and let kids go. So in our current configuration, when these cars start backing up, if we have a parent that's coming in to pick their student up for a dental appointment, or maybe they have an older student that's going to an athletic event and they're coming to get their middle school kid and take him to the event, or heaven forbid, we have an ambulance or some kind of emergency vehicle that needs to come in, they will find a way, the ambulance emergency vehicle will, but there's not a way in for them right now. And then this route does give them additional parking along the front that will be visitor parking just for those situations. So that allows for that. And then the exit on the north side, it does improve that as well, so that NN traffic, our goal has been for many years to improve our impact on NN. And we feel that this will help us as well. So this is the change order. And if you look at the change order itself, you have to understand architect language. So there's the first one for the high school is just to deduct $1 million from the project. This one, the first line, is to take that $1 million that we deducted from the high school storm shelter and to add it to the middle school project. That's one line. That's no add. That's taking it from one, putting it to the other. The next line is a change. This is an added. We wanted to do this at the very beginning. As we ran the numbers, we knew that we would have to put this off until now, if at all. We are very fortunate with the partnership we have between Estes Snyder and Branco that we do have the opportunity to come back and say, we have that $524,000 left in rock allowances specifically here, that we can add that entrance, do those improvements. So that is a $524,949 add to the middle school project. When you jump down, then they want to add, obviously they're done, they're just about done, and we put in There's a penalty for exceeding the contract days, so that they don't incur any penalty, because we say we're gonna expand this project. They're adding 141 days to the contract, which would take us to August 20th, 2024. So there's no change in that cost. The next line, the 1,524,000, isn't we're adding 1,500,000. What they're saying is the additions above these, the moving of money. This is the accounting world of architects, is that we have to account for that somewhere in our contract. So we say the $1 million is an add. That is an add. It's a move from one contract to another. The next is, of that money that we just moved, we're spending $524,949 on this parking lot improvement, which still leaves a contingency for, if you jump down to the bottom, you'll see a contingency of $102,140 for the Branco CMR site, and $623,433 contingency for Ozark School District. That's a lot of words. I tried to walk slow so everybody, because like I said, nobody's been to this level yet, so this is the first time for everybody. What questions would you have for me?
I've got a few. Is this on? Is this thing on? Yeah, I've got a few questions for you, Curtis. So I appreciate the savings of the $1 million. And I guess I don't see any kind of itemization of actual what this 1 million or 500, I get the whole drawings and all that. I've been to middle school every single day, so I understand it, but I don't see in the attachments here, the supporting documents, where is the actual $1 million to be spent? We can't just hand $1 million to the contractor and say, here, do something.
Can you go back? Can you go to the actual change order?
I didn't see any kind of data or estimate in this attachment previously.
So.
And it looks, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like it's, like we had 524,000 in December. Now we're adding another 1 million, is that correct? We're adding 1.5?
No, we're just adding, we're adding $1 million today. The 524,000 comes out of that $1 million. We did not move anything. This is the first time we've talked about doing this.
So what's the actual cost structure? Because I see what you want to do, but I don't see the cost for that.
So can you pull up the middle school change order number 8?
This one?
Yes. So if you come through here, Melissa, would you like to come up and address this on the side here? I'll grab the mouse, we can let her drive.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so what this does is on the AA change order form, we are showing on the front page that the only contractual change is $1 million being added. And again, that's a deduction from the high school and add to the middle school. And then the attachments on the following page is a breakdown of the contractor's bid of the $524,000. So Branco provided a cost breakdown of what that entailed. So that's your dirt work, your asphalt, your concrete work. There's some lighting changes. You can see again there the $1 million that comes out of the dollar amount that gets added.
What I'm hearing you say is it's $1 million, we're moving $1 million, but the estimate to do the work is 500 and some
That's
change.
correct. The cost of the middle school parking lot modifications is $524,000. The $1 million is strictly to get and add back into the contingency amount for the middle school project to keep it in the middle school project.
Does that add up to 5.4?
Say, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't have the attachment here. I can't see if it actually adds up to 5.4.
So here's the breakdown for the work, the site work, the concrete, paving, sealing, striping, electrical, and then our general conditions for the contractor to do that work. So that's the breakdown, and then it further breaks down on the following pages after that as well for each subcontractor. And it gives the quantities of material, quantity of labor that we've gone through.
So what about the other 500 or 400?
It stays in your project as a contingency amount, and at the very end of the project, we write a change order and deduct it out of anything we don't use.
All unused contingencies go back to the order, we keep none of that. So this is the glory of the CMAR project. We have not worked for any school district where they've not been able to add value to their school system or however they wanted to add it. For instance, Cassville was able to regroup their entire school district with the savings from the efficiency of the CMR process. You guys are actually, your GMP, which is your guaranteed maximum price, is not increasing. We have been, with the project team that we have, we've been efficient enough to save and not get into those contingencies. And good drawings, good answers from Curtis, good work from our guys and all the subcontractors. None of those contingencies have been touched, and some of it was luck with weather, not as much rock as everybody expected and all that kind of stuff. So you're basically getting a parking lot that you weren't originally going to be able to afford with no change in the contract value.
It was one of the things that we originally wanted to include as part of the overall project, but we opted to wait and make sure all the projects could get completed, you know, within the dollar amount that was allowed, and then at that point, we can add those back in.
I have a couple of questions.
I'm going to have your
I have a couple of questions. One, you said new requirements for the walls. If it was gonna be 2-story, somebody came in and said, oh, there are new requirements for the thickness of those walls. Were those genuinely new requirements that were just developed, or they were just ones that were not accounted for?
No, there's two different options. When you go to a 2-story, depending on the height of the building, the walls get thicker, your foundations get wider, deeper, to support that structure. So all that costs money, in the precast panels. So that additional height and adding another floor was getting pretty expensive. Working with Branco, we went through the process of, were we gonna have enough money to do all 4 of the projects, or were we only gonna get 3 of them in? This is how we were able to get all 4 of them in budget.
So were those not accounted for at the beginning? Because I remember when it was on the ballot, it was proposed to be a 2-story building. So were those?
Those were schematic designs of what was proposed to work. It isn't until you actually get into the working drawings that you can actually figure out what that needs to be. So those are very preliminary project scopes. And then when we got a CMR on board, we were able to estimate those closer.
So I'm not trying to pick on you, I'm genuinely wanting to understand. It just seems like it was
voted on and approved to being 2-story. And so that would have been planned for at the beginning, that it's gonna be more expensive to have extra walls on top of it.
So when we design, we could spend all of the money up front, and we can, Melissa and Ashley Snyder would appreciate us to say, here's $1 million to design this building. Then we're gonna go to the board, or to the patrons and say, here you go. And it doesn't pass, and then we're out $1 million. So we load it with, here's our concepts, a indoor storm shelter / gym, and here's the things that we want inside it, J-Rossi, one ring, 2 volleyball courts, basketball court, this is what we want. So we get a conceptual idea. That conceptual idea in this case was 2 stories. Then we come to reality and we start paying them money. And as we pay them money and the engineers come on board and the construction manager at risk comes on board, that's when we really talk about, here's the programming we need inside of there. Here's the concept we sold. a indoor, a storm shelter that's a gym, that's a basketball court, that has 2 volleyball courts, that has a place for ROTC to do their target practice. How do we get all of that for the best bang for our buck? And that's what this team right here does. And they got us the bang for the buck, and they said, you don't have to go up, it's cheaper to go out. And when you go out, you don't have to put an elevator in, you don't have to put that second floor access in.
So the bottom floor is bigger dimensions now than it was claimed to be? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yes, ma'am, it is. So when we have smaller footprint, we went 2 stories. When you make it 1 story and you eliminate all those additional things that would have been on the 2nd story, you can get more square footage for less cost.
That's what I wanted to find out. What did we eliminate?
We didn't, we eliminated the 2nd floor.
But you relocated it to the bottom? Okay, so I just didn't understand, because I thought you eliminated something, so why is there $1 million left over?
We were able to eliminate stair towers, 2 stair towers, which would have been required on the 2nd floor, an elevator for handicap accessibility, 2nd floor slab. So all those things were, and plus we were eliminating the size of the walls, which added a lot of concrete.
Sorry, there's a lot when you go up. Everybody thinks it's cheaper to go up.
But I didn't, that's what I was trying to find out, you expanded the bottom.
Correct, so the savings were in all the things she mentioned, but you also got 2 floors of what you got in the ceiling of 2 floors.
Right.
You got lights, air conditioning, ×2.
Okay, so ready for my second question? Okay, you said 141 days for building the parking lot? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So
3
what?
months?
So right now we have if you go to the front page of that. So as we go through projects and they increase on time, we're trying to get them so they have enough time to do it to August 20th. That's amount to extend their contract from where they're at to that point, so they have enough time to finish it under the middle school contract.
And that's the only thing they're doing during that time is the.
Yeah, we're almost completely done right now. We just have a few little things on the canopies, but this will push them right in when school gets out to be able to start. But we have a little bit of time between that. We have to carry the contract through.
It doesn't start till after school.
Yeah, okay.
So you have to carry a contract all the way through. You can't really start and stop.
Okay.
There's gonna be a lag, and I really don't, I love the Ozark School District, but I don't wanna pay you to come back and work here for damages, so. Good idea.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
There might be other questions.
So my recommendation would be to approve change orders, both change orders as presented.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve change orders as presented?
I make a motion to approve the change orders as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Sarah, second by Guy. Any other discussion?
I did want to add one thing.
To say it doesn't cost any money grates against me, because it does cost money. It may have been budgeted, but if it wasn't gonna be spent, it would have been put back in. So I'm not gonna vote against this or be against it, but I just wanna reiterate again, I think I bring this up every month. These are taxpayer dollars. Some people can just barely afford to pay these dollars, and we take them from them by force. We have to be careful with how we spend that money, and I don't like it when we say, oh, it's just, it doesn't cost anything, it's free. It's not free. It costs a lot of people something.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Looks like it unanimously passes.
Thank you.
We are going to deviate just a little bit from the agenda and go ahead and have the middle school children come up to do. And then we will move back to the new business really quick. So the Davis are getting restless. It was your principal that texted, so give him a round of applause.
Hey, first off, I just want to say thank you to our kiddos and our parents for your patience. I think they are the ones that deserve the big round of applause for their flexibility and resilience. So first off, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the opportunity to come tonight and to present to you about the great things that are happening at the middle school. We have so many great things, and this is just a small glimpse into our world and the things that are happening. Tonight, we are going to really be focusing on two things, and the first one is going to be our PBIS ticket store. We're going to talk to you just a little bit about that. And secondly is our business tech program and how those two things have beautifully been interwoven and married together this year to really create an opportunity for our kids that I believe is second to none. And as you look at our slideshow tonight, you'll see that our theme for the evening is going to be the Shark Tank. And the reason is because when you think within our community, one of the most widely recognized opportunities for somebody who wants to put a business opportunity in front of investors is the Shark Tank. And that's essentially what we've created with our business tech program that we're going to show you here in just a few minutes. So first off, I've got one favor to ask of you. Put yourselves in the shoes of the sharks for us for a few minutes and let us present to you. Don't worry, we're not going to hit you up for more money. I can promise you that. You're already investing in us, and thank you so much for that. As we jump into our presentation, to kick it off for you, we've got a short video.
Well, the ticket store is an example, like it's a different way for kids to like express like what they like making, and it's a way for kids to be creative and experience it for others. And so at the ticket store, kids can like sell things that really share like about them, and other kids can buy it.
We get tickets by being good in class and being an example for other students and answering questions.
I think the purpose of the school store is to like also bring our creativity to life.
The ticket store really is designed to help improve student behavior, and it's helped to reinforce those behaviors within the classroom. As a part of that, it's really created an environment where kids want to do the right thing, and a culture of students a lot of times going out of their way to really work to do something that would be above and beyond within the classes to get those tickets.
I have always been a huge supporter of our ticket system and our ticket store. This year, I really wanted to expand it and include with the business class, and so they could create a product of anything. I have a lot of crafts on hand. We have a 3D printer, and then they could create, they could set the price, and then they receive 20% of their profit.
I've made bracelets, I've made rings, I've made earrings, I've made a lot of things.
I enjoy like watching others, like seeing what they create, because like some people have like ideas that like I would never even think of. Like one girl, she does a salt scrub, and it is like so cool. Like I would have never thought to do that. So it's really cool to see like what other kids can like create, and it's fun to share like what you create as well.
So within our business tech classes, our kids are learning really the whole principle of what it is to own a business, from beginning to designing and creating product, all the way through advertisement to how do we promote our product within the building.
The best thing that has come out of this ticket store project is seeing the things that students create. When you let them choose, they come up with amazing ideas. I would have never thought of the roc's head on a craft charm. I would have never thought
of pom-pom wreaths being sold, or necklaces, or bracelets, friendship bracelets being huge. And there's such a variety of products.
Yeah, so one of my favorite items in the ticket store has always been the Croc Charms. I'm one of those old dads that rock the Croc Charms, and so the Croc Charms go well with my outfit. As evidence tonight, I'm sporting the Crocs and some of our student-created Croc Charms. They say, I love OMS, which we do, and this is a couple of our other student creations. I am sporting the Rock Croc Charm, just so you know. Right over here is the creator of the Rock Croc Charm, but I almost think that it might have been a jab at me for a while, but anyway, thank you for your great investment there. So as we move on, we just want to talk real quick about how we got here. So first off, I just want to say, we kind of went through our why a minute ago, and encouraging our kiddos to do the best that they can through our PBIS model, rewarding those kids with those tickets so that they can then come to the ticket store and purchase things. Now, in coupling that together with our business tech, it allows kids to purchase their peer products that are created and put within the store through our business tech class. So we wanted some buy-in and some opportunity for kids to say, wow, I created that, to see their Croc Charms in the building, or whatever that may be. But how did it come about? Well, it started with this lady right here, Miss Alexis Ennis. She is our business tech teacher, and last spring she came to me and said, Dr. Russell, I have this idea. Whenever Miss Ennis comes to me with that, I think, okay, let's see, what's this gonna cost me first? And anyway, so she came to me with this great idea, and being the hard-headed guy I am, sometimes it takes me some time to buy in. But eventually, once we came back together and married the business tech model with it, kids getting a percentage of their sales and the profits, I loved it, and so we bought in wholeheartedly and we jumped in, and it's been one of the best things that we have going on in the middle school right now. So with that, I'm gonna let her jump in and really talk through some of what that model looks like.
Hi, Alexis Ennis, and this is my 11th year teaching, 2nd year as business tech computer apps. And I, last year was just kind of getting my feet wet with that position, and by the end, I really started seeing a really good way for students to apply what we were doing in a real way. And so that is where I came up with the ticket store idea. And we started small last year. We kind of put a couple sticker competitions, put some stickers in, and students were buying, and then that's where it ended up growing. So some things that we do, mostly in the Tiger Focus enrichment class, which I mentioned earlier with Mr. Maddox here, we advertise, we get in groups, we start thinking of what are some things students would want. So we start thinking about our target audience, which is the 5th and 6th graders. What would they want to buy at the ticket store? And how could we advertise that for them? So students create flyers. I print 3 flyers. They put them around the school however they feel. And I tell them they're gonna judge you. If your flyer is put up sideways, taped up real weird, it looks a little, so we talk about, appearance. We look at, they create their own displays with their products. They think about the pricing. How long did it take me to make this bracelet? Or the Croc Charm? Or painting something? How long did it take me to do that? How much tickets do I want to earn? That's really where it comes down to. They want to make tickets. So they're like, okay, so if I sell this for 5 tickets, how much do I get back? And I'm like, 1. Okay. So they break it down. And we also have to really focus on time management. I have Tiger Focus students 4 weeks at a time for 20 minutes. And they have to really be focused, and then business tech, we do it when we finish our work. So that's a really good motivator to be on task, get their work done, and then we also have work days, but it's really when they finish their work. We have had some amazing outcomes that we didn't initially expect. I have heard teachers say, hey, I've got a student making pom-poms in math class after they're done with their work. Oh, whoops. Or at home, they're making bracelets or 3D prints, which we'll get to see here in a few, and they come back to school with all of these products. They were doing them at home. And, the buzz in the halls, when that rock charm that you're gonna see here in just a minute, when we put that poster up, kids were talking. how can we get tickets, because I want to buy that thing. Another great thing is the sense of pride. The first time, my first group, we set out our bracelets, and that was what the first group really wanted to do, was bracelets, and then we set those out, and we went to go see how they did, and a girl saw her bracelet be gone, and just cried, and was like, someone wanted my bracelet? And I was like, yes, someone bought that from you. And teachers have wanted to buy things to support their students. And then lastly, fifth graders are hearing about the business tech class and getting to make things to sell, and now they all want to join in, and it's generated a really cool interest level. Here is the data. You know, data doesn't lie. This is a collage of all the things that we've made. Animals, doorknob, pom-poms, pixel eggs, origami, spooters, Ninja Stars bookmarks, guitar picks, and we have seen a dramatic increase in products being made. The yellow is first quarter, the blue is third quarter, and also an increase in profit in tickets that have been spent on our items. Our money comes in large part from our OMS budget. That was one thing when I went to Dr. Russell. I said, you know, you're buying fidgets and snacks and toys and pencils and things. Well, I can make some of that. So let's try to balance. So it's not extra cost. I didn't want it to be extra cost. I just wanted to kind of share. And our fundraising money, we've also received donations from families and students. They bring in their old craft items, recycled materials. And then I recently received a grant through a private donor through the Community Foundation of the Ozarks, and purchased those two 3D printers. They just got set up this week. They are awesome. Moving forward, I really hope to incorporate the business model to the fullest. I want to use Google spreadsheets to budget, to have students budget their costs, their labor, their profit, create graphs. I also, Mr. Maddox over here created an awesome video commercial. I want more students to do videos, and then teachers can show them around school. There we go. All right. It is time for our students. All right, Shark Tank. First up, we have our pom-pom girls. We have Lo, Harper Chapman, Harper Howard, and Lynn Maurus. Sorry. And these students show what teamwork and how that fits into the business world.
Hi, I'm Harper Chapman, and I will be talking about how pom-pom girls have advantages over other groups and businesses in the ticket store. To start off, we have an amazing friendship connection, and we work together like 4 peas in a pod. Next, we have all handmade products, and we make them with lots of love. Last but definitely not least, we have craft knowledge from our amazing teacher, Miss Ennis.
Hi, I'm Lorelai Levins, but most of my friends call me Lo. I'll be talking about some of our products. Some of them are our pom-pom wreaths, our pom-pom sculptures, our sensory pom-poms, which is a combination of 2 textures of yarn put together to make a fun little toy. We have our pom-pom accessories, our extra large pom-poms, our pom-pom monsters, our pom-pom mini wreaths, and our pom-pom foam chains. And last but not least, we have our regular pom-poms, which we specialize in. They come in a variety of colors, including blue, purple, red, orange, etc. Hi, I'm Liv, and I'm part of the Pom-Pom Girls. I'm going to be talking about our suggestion box. So we got to thinking, how can we let other students have input in our decisions for colors and designs of our creations? Well, we thought, what better way to do it than to make a few extra tickets and to let others have input. So we made a suggestion box where kids can pay 1 ticket to put a suggestion or a piece of paper into the suggestion box, and that way they can have input. So
we decided that we were going to draw every week. And at the end of every week, we would draw, and whatever color we got, we would use for our pom-poms. Hi, my name's Dr. Howard. I'm the creator of this business, and I'm going to be talking about our statistics. So for our pom-pom race, we sold out 30 tickets, and we sold 9 of them. For our two-textured for our pom-poms, we sold for 7 tickets, and we sold 25 of them. For our 2 textures, we priced them out 7 as well, and we sold 7 of them. For our monsters, which are just like little bunnies, we sold for 5 tickets, and we sold 9 of them. For statues, which are fairly new, we sold for 25 tickets and we sold 1 of them. For phone chains, which is a key accessory to put on your phone, we sold for 7 tickets and they too are fairly new, so we've only sold 0 of those. For mini wreaths, or doorknob wreaths as we like to call them, we sold for 15 tickets and we sold 8 of those. For big pom-poms or extra large ones, which are just fun to play around with, we sold for 15 tickets and they as well are fairly new, so we've sold 0 of them. We've made around 65 items for the ticket store. We got back 85 tickets in just 1 paycheck from second quarter. We have made the ticket store back 684 tickets. Also, there's pom-poms at your stations that you can keep.
All right, next, oh yes, round of applause for the They check every day their inventory. Can we go check to see how much we've made? Next, we have our 3D printing rocks with Aiden Stoops and Liv Maurus. So here's Aiden.
Hello, my name is Aiden Stoops. I'm a sixth grader and I made the rock drums. The reason I made them is because I thought it was funny and I figured a lot of people would like it too. Plus, a lot of people love crafts. I sold over 25 of them and 15 to each. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, so my name is Liv, and my business is called Pride Designs. And so I make different 3D printed items such as keychains, magnets, and little decor. And so these resemble a tiger paw, and I'll give each one of you one of them after I'm done. And so we sell them ranging from 5 tickets to 25, depending on the size of them and the quality. And one thing that sets us apart from our competitors is, I think, the quality of the product, because the demand is very high for our products, and so I think when the quality is high, so is the demand, and so when people receive the quality products, I think they can't help but tell their friends.
All right, and lastly, we have Getting Goofy with Finley Morey and Maddox Nims. These students are another example of teamwork, and they create interesting crop charms and figurines that Maddox creates and Finley paints, correct? All right, and I'll let you take over.
Hello, my name is Maddox, and, wrong. Hello, Sharks, me and my buddy Finley have been working hard and being creative to get some tickets in our pockets. Here's an example of what we have created. It should be two should be on the desk, and we call it the Goofy Egg Race. It is one of our failed 3D prints that used to go with our successful crop charm. The Goofyosaurus. We have had many ideas, but we chose a failed 3D print to show everything can still make it if you persevere and try numerous amounts of attempts.
Hello, Sharks. Like my friend was saying, we have made multiple creations, though not all of them come out right to the point that we don't sell them, but that doesn't mean we give up so easily. Take the Goofy Acres as an example, but the ones that do come out as a 3D printed design that is made and that are supposed to be eye painted, and we sell them in the OMS ticket store. A creation that did turn out the way it was supposed to be was the Goofyosaurus crop charm. Me and Max in Cotton College, and they said, Farm Flow was our first successful product.
I will add that the Goofy Eggosaurus, the Eggerus, was made possible because of our new 3D printers. Our old one couldn't handle their creation, but this one got it, so. All right, as a token of our appreciation for all of our sharks and your support, your dedication, your investment in us, we have a special gift for you.
These were made by our students.
Our new, yes.
With the 3D printer.
With the new 3D printers by our students, yes.
So with that, we just want to say thank you for your continued investment and support in the middle school and in everything that we do. Thank you, Sharks. Have a good evening.
Next on our agenda tonight is the approval of insurance broker.
Okay, a few months ago, we issued a formal RFP for broker services for our district. Barkerville, Jackson, and Springfield is our recommendation over the other two submissions. This is for a 3-year period. They have presented a lower cost of services than our current broker and have proven experience in schools and universities around the state. They also have other public entity clients and understand the unique needs of employees. They've demonstrated a vast knowledge of health plans, compliance, and strategic planning. There will be a team of 3 consultants and 2 account managers that will work closely with their staff to make sure we are getting the best value for our benefits and that we strive to meet our goals as a district for our staff and their families. So currently, we do have, we do have Mike Scott, Stan Robinson here tonight with us. The third member of the consulting team is his wife on her 17th anniversary, and that's probably a wise choice for him. But Stan and Mike are both married to retired teachers, so they do understand public education. Stan lives in Ozark, and Mike lives near Rogersville. I can tell you that we have been working with them for at least probably a month and a half now, and their level of service has been top notch. And we are so pleased with this choice that we have made. And I'd like for them to speak and introduce themselves, and then I would like to ask for you to approve Barkerville Jackson as our new insurance broker.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. My name is Mike Scott, and I have Stan with me. We are excited about this. We enjoy working with educators. We enjoy working in the public entity space, and we're excited about the future with Ozark.
And I totally agree with that. My wife and I moved here 21 years ago from southeast Missouri, and we chose Ozark to be our home. So our 3 young daughters started in kindergarten here in Ozark, so we've had experience at all levels here. So this is another chapter for us, Mike and myself, and especially for me here at Ozark. So we really appreciate that. Thank you.
So it is my recommendation for Barkerville Jackson to become our new insurance broker.
We have a recommendation. Do you have a motion from the floor? Motion by Dustin. Sarah, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, the next up for discussion is approve the health insurance rates for the 2024-25 school year. Once again, with many of our stepped out, they're still there. In the first 2.5 months, they've definitely proven a value to us, not only with their customer service, but also with their negotiation in the short months that we've had for our insurance. Currently, our district has insurance through Cox Health Center, and we have 2 plans. One is a PPO and one is an EPO. And I do have, if you would click on the PDF. You can see the 2 plans that we offer. The EPO for the individual has a $1,500 annual maximum out of pocket, as well as $4,500 for the family. And then if you scroll down to the EPO, keep going. Sorry about that. It is a higher deductible plan, but it is also at a lower cost. And so I ask at this point, let me back up just a minute. The initial bid or initial proposal came in at 8%, of an 8% increase to our insurance rates. And as you know, insurance is ever increasing. And so you want someone out there that's going to go about it for you and to negotiate prices. We also know that there are so many things that make up the rates that we get, from how often we use insurance as a group or how many large claims we have out there pending. So it's just not as easy as you think of, oh, insurance fees should be stagnant, we shouldn't get an increase. It would be great if we never got an increase, but it's a very, very difficult to say you would never do that. So Cox came in and proposed an 8% increase. After Robert Phillips Jackson negotiated, they moved that down to 4%. Okay, so that is great. The plan did not change at all, but the amount of money that we will have to, or the increase that we will pay this year is only 4% versus the 8% that they had, Cox had originally proposed. We currently pay, on the PPO, we pay $668 per employee. And this is up from $642 from the prior year, which is a 4%. And then on the EPO, it is a cheaper plan, and we pay $540 per employee, up from $519. Now, even though that is a difference, the plans are different in prices, the amount is still given. Each employee receives the same benefit. So we place that additional amount into an HSA for them. So I'm very pleased so far, not only with their service and their willingness to go to bat for us on this insurance, and I know that we're going to see great things in the future. So I ask that you approve the health insurance rates for the 24-25 school year. Yes.
It shows,
I'm sorry.
at the top, it says broker.
Oh,
Commission.
no, it is not Chance, it is Barker Jackson, and this was before that was, when they did this, Chance was still the broker, because you had not approved this, but it was Barker Jackson.
He's not gonna get it.
No Chance, no.
But he didn't go out to bid either.
He didn't.
go out to bid.
For us?
Right.
Say it again.
So did they put out?
They did a bid for our business, but they did not go out to bid for Cox Health to see what our insurance rates were.
Next year we're going to.
Next year we will, yes.
It still says at the bottom 8% change.
Then I may have given you the wrong one.
Just checking down at the bottom of that chart. There you go. See at the very bottom. Change. Both pages say 8% change.
Yeah, because the other one doesn't show the numbers.
It was a 4% change.
I believe you. Are those numbers on there a 4% change or an 8% change?
The ones that I worked on into our budget was a 4% change. I put that in there so that you can see that $1,500 and $4,500, that's the change.
Okay.
Show that the coverage did not change.
The coverage did not change.
These are the numbers.
Yeah.
All right, we have a recommendation for approving health insurance rates for 2024, 2025. Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. Motion from Dustin.
I'll second it.
Second from Guy. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimously approved.
And up here I have one. Approval of the supplemental insurance. So we are asking to move from Unum to American Fidelity. American Fidelity will offer term life, whole life, accident, cancer, critical illness, HSA, FSA will eventually handle the 403B and 457B administration. I am not an insurance or a HR administration of this guru, so be careful when you ask me questions. The advantage of going with them is that they are familiar with our products and provide ongoing education to staff. They handle all the compliance pieces that Unum does not. They also have a user-friendly app and website. Their prices are comparable, although some items may be a couple of dollars more. Their customer service and ease of claims filing helps offset this. So this is a supplemental that we are, as a benefit, we do not have a cost involved in this, but it is a, just if you had an extra cancer policy or an extra life policy, we offer that for ease for our employees. I can tell you that we were with American Fidelity before I got here 2 years ago. I don't know why it was changed, but it was changed. And I don't know why, but some of our policies and the third-party administration policies were lapsing and have lapsed. And American Fidelity will get us back on track with all of that behind-the-scenes plans. Also, as stated before, their customer service, you will talk to someone when you call them, as well as their mobile app and how the ease of claims is much better. So I ask that we use American Fidelity for next year.
I think it's important to note that the back-end trouble was not Ozark School related, it was Unum. It's related to them. This fixes that problem, and it allows teachers to have more options that are selectable to them, correct?
All right, need a motion to approve American Fidelity as our supplemental insurance provider.
Motion to approve.
For second. Second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Unanimously approved.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is informational items on our district magazine.
Hi everyone, glad to come up to the mic to address you guys and talk about our community magazine that we sent out. This went out to 14,000 residents across our community, and the reason behind this is to really connect to an audience that doesn't receive our information regularly. So those taxpayers that aren't receiving our social media posts, aren't receiving our newsletters, this is an opportunity for us to get connected to them. This highlights our students and our staff across the district, and it really brings light to the portrait of a graduate. And you'll see throughout the magazine that, that we made several connections of portrait of a grad to these programs and to the activities that are directly associated with them. The goal is to send this out twice a year, once in the spring and then once in the fall. And this magazine was profitable due to the sponsorships and advertising that was produced in it. So while we were able to send it out to 14,000 residents, it wasn't at any cost to the district. Happy to address any questions that you might have on it.
Any questions?
It's a great magazine. Thank you for making it profitable and sending it out to everybody. Great job.
Thank you.
It's amazing, it's really nice, and you, I want to emphasize what you said, at no cost at all, because you paid for it without time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hey, great job, and I just wanted to, is there a thought about incorporating kids or students into making this in the future?
So having guest writers and contributors that we're talking about? Yeah, so there's a little bit of it. The students do have their own publication that is produced by the journalism program here in the OIC. So yes, we're gonna look at some kind of overlap where we can have some of the featured writers and guest writers. We're starting to get more involvement on our activity side with student leaders, really serving as a PIO representative for their individual groups. So as we continue to explore it and expand on it, we definitely want to use as many students and their work as possible. Great.
For sure.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Next is a student discipline review.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me visit with you tonight. I will try to tone down our 90-minute presentation here. Just kidding. We were asked to formulate some data for you, and I cannot take credit for all of this presentation. Dr. Thurman worked very hard on putting a lot of this together, along with all the executive directors, Dr. Carson, pretty much everybody helped with this. So we're just going to go through some of this, and as we go through this, if you have questions, because there's a lot here, just stop me and ask me. First of all, we're just going to kind of go over our enrollment data. This is our total of 6,131 students. We just added a little talking points on the side there. We have a high school population that is now split between two campuses. West has a very large population this time, and then just some data points there of our new admissions and withdrawn students. We're going to talk to you a little bit about our discipline incidents by school, and the reason I started with enrollment, kind of to segue into this is, you will notice the high school obviously has more because they have more kids. Also, high school students are going to have incidents that our younger students don't have, such as a parking violation or a name badge violation. So there's a lot more opportunities for those incidents to occur. This talks about incidents by type and the actions. So let's talk a little bit about some of these things. First of all, you need to understand in 22-23, we used SIS K-12 as our system. So that's the system that administrators inputted the data for incidents that occurred. This year we've switched to PowerSchool, and they don't match exactly. So some of these things, and I don't know if I can tell them, some of these might not match exactly, but we did the best we could on those types of things. So one of the things that was asked earlier, violent act with injury is basically assault. And we have two divisions of that. Assault degree first and second, and assault degree third and fourth. The other thing on this side where it says actions, loss of privileges, that was, that's not a choice anymore in PowerSchool. So you'll see that last year we had 268 of those. This year we don't have any, but they are absorbed in other categories, if that makes sense. So you might talk to a student in your office about something and just have a conference, and there may not be a reason, or I might say, hey, you're gonna spend recess with me, those kinds of things. Or somebody forgets their badge. That was actually one of the things I had to look up, nuisance items. That's new this year, that's a badge violation, which which is a nuisance, I guess that's the term for that. Questions, that's a lot of data. Questions on any of that?
Which one category there, unauthorized entry?
That could be a lot of things. That could be, and we looked at a couple of those, that could be maybe you were supposed to be here and you weren't, you went somewhere else. Or it could be, you skipped class and you tried to come back in and you were caught. Could be a lot of things. And those are students, not adults.
So that's not people coming to the building that shouldn't be there?
No, sir.
Good.
No. We wouldn't, that would be a law violation, that would be a discipline. Good question.
I do have a question. On the violent act of the assault, or is that student on student, is it student on teacher?
Student on student, well, one of the things I'll go over here, these are incidents that are inputted by our administrators. I also have some school resource data that I'm going to share with you as well, that's a little different. They code things and put things in a little differently, and they're on a whole different system. That is not split out, so it's just assault, whether it's on an adult or student, and that is just all together.
So those SRO numbers are totally separate cases from these incident numbers?
Say that again.
Are those SRO numbers that you're gonna tell us, are those totally separate cases from these?
No, they're the same, they're just totally different. Yeah.
So so the violent act, those are assaults, and that can mean student on student or student to teacher,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
But we don't have that split out at all. Do we have workers'
No.
comp? I mean, what's our workers' comp number? Did that show that?
So just came back from the insurance conference, and I can't give you specifics, but I can tell you that if you look at violence on custodial maintenance, it's non-existent. But when you get to the teacher, violence is the highest. And there's actually two categories. It's violence, I believe strikes and bites. And violence is number one, and then strikes and bites is number three.
So our number one worker comp claim for teachers is that?
For teachers, yeah, yes.
Sorry, I didn't have that information.
Do you think maybe we can have that information next month or something? That'd be something we're talking about. Something for the board to look at and talk about, maybe if there are other things that need to be done to lower that. We know maybe you guys have.
I would suggest doing a survey on that. Maybe you can see if it's a problem by school. We narrow it down to,
Is this all school, like all grades? Okay, so your strikes and bites would be kindergartner, not an 18-year-old.
Well,
Do we have that broke down?
Pre-K through 12. We do, but I don't have it that, I didn't get movies that much.
our workers' comp, you should be able to call them and be able to sort that out. I haven't.
We have a report that we get.
Okay, because that would be concerning to me because it's a high number and you think that is concerning.
The reason I had asked for these things originally is because there's so much concern in Springfield. And even in our state, by St. Louis, Hazelwood, that incident up there, I mean, constantly, maybe not constantly, but frequently hearing reports of violence, of kids attacking other kids, kids attacking teachers, and we talk about teacher retention, and we talk about education, kids doing well academically in the classroom. You can't do well academically when there's that kind of disruption, violence and stuff, so I think that's something very significant. I'm glad we were asked that about the number one incidence of workers' comp is kind of concerning.
Any more questions?
There were a few comments tonight about bullying. I applaud the parents who were brave enough to come and mention that. So, the numbers look low out here, but I'm wondering, are some of those, looks like a half dozen categories that could be classified as that. Are we double classifying things? Or how does, I guess how does that mean listed? And who says, hey, this is bullying or this is assault or whatever?
Right. The administrator would code that according to board policy. One thing I will tell you about the bullying, you'll see disrespectful and disruptive behavior is very high. That is a pretty generic code, and that could be used too before it got to the bullying. Let's say the administrator did step in, there was an incident, they did address it. Before it got to the bullying stage, they might code it as disruptive or disrespectful behavior. Especially at the younger level, when you're trying to work with, 7 and 8-year-olds, they sometimes need redirection. Good questions.
Are we gonna hear a little bit eventually about consequences? What are the steps, the consequences for repeated that kind of behavior?
Yes, and that's a board policy. That's what they go by.
I'd be curious.
When I tried to access those links, I couldn't get the vote. That were in the board packet, the links to the policy on this link.
Oh, really?
I appreciate you putting those in there.
They're just, there are policies.
They're straight from
our board policy, the website. So I
I
don't
mean, there
know.
might be a list of procedures or steps that you guys went through, abilities that are in the board policy.
They are not, they are just the board policy itself.
Is there a way, can you go back and find that, hate to be that guy? Because obviously that's a catch-all, right? The disrespect. Okay. Is there a way for us or teachers, administrators to break out some of that? I'd be curious how much of that started right here with this thing and the problem that we have with these in the classrooms, and how many of those started there and escalated into something else, but it all started with that. Or the fact that we need to probably limit those.
Well, as of right now, you couldn't, our system's not made to break it out that way. I mean, we could.
Is that our system or the system, their system?
Well, no, the way we have the incidences, you'd have to go into each one and try to find out what the root cause was. We wouldn't have that data just at our fingertips for sure.
Is that for, say, 2025, can we, whoever we use the software from, can we say, hey, we want these abilities to subcategorize this, so you can, and we go, hey,
we can look at that.
1,000 of them started because they didn't want to put their cell phone away.
And we can look at that.
You could, it would just be a different category. And I will say, if you get too many, it gets muddy. But if you're asking for opinions from administrators, they'll probably tell you absolutely. This just breaks it down by location, and of course, kids are in the classrooms most of the day, so that makes sense if that's where a lot or majority of your incidents occur. The next one breaks it down by grade level. And these have different numbers, but they're pretty consistent, except 4th grade, they seem to be very good this year, so kudos to them. You will notice freshmen, they take a little more time to adapt to high school ways, and there's things that sometimes trip them up. And then by the time they're seniors, their schedule sometimes, they may not even be here all day, because they moved on to OTC classes, all kinds of things. So that just kind of breaks it down. Nothing there is very glaring, because we do have different numbers in each grade level as well. This one, let me explain this one to you. This is our repeat offender breakdown. So when you look here at the bottom, the number of repeated incidents. So you have 208 students that have had 2 or more incidents recorded in the office. Does that make sense? So 208 kids have 2 incidents. So that goes down through that line. We have 9 students that have 15 or more incidents in the office. So we do have some repeat offenders. Now, I can tell you of those 9 kids, some of them, may have had discipline that they may not be here anymore, they may have a different schedule, all kinds of things. I didn't look up those kids, but that was just interesting to us as it goes through that line.
So, of the 208, 114 had 3
No.
Correct.
Those are separate, no.
Separate.
208 had 2, 114 had 3.
Different kids.
57 had 4.
What's the grand total?
It's on the next page. Try the next page.
Is it on the next page?
I would just,
I think.
I just wanted to know, help understand, explain why are there kids who have 10 or 15 or more than 15 incidences of being in the office?
It could be of various reasons, and that's one of the things that administrators struggle with. Repeat offenders. Everybody's entitled, to their education, and we have to follow board policy. If we can keep them in class, then we do. I would say there's lots of consequences involved in that as well. Board policies, all of our things start with a principal conference that goes to 180-day suspension. So they are very broad. Administrators have that because you do want, or you're working with young people, you do want to give them an opportunity to correct behavior. Now, do we have some that are struggling? Absolutely. So, any more questions on that one? It's kind of different. This is the SRO that I kind of wanted to share with you, and just to kind of explain a few of these talking points. SROs log their incidents differently. They are logged as calls for service. And if you want to know data, SROs have it. They are the best at logging things and giving information on what happened. If I needed to know something that happened 3 months ago on an incident, I guarantee you Mark Deans could find out what happened. So they don't do discipline. They are just calls for service. You might want to know, when is an SRO call? Well, an SRO is called anytime an administrator feels there's a law violation or a safety concern. And I would also add an administrator's discretion. If they feel they need our school resource officers, I want them to call them. That's why we have them. So these are a little different. Their calls for service last year were 4,915. One thing I need to add to that too is a lot of those are backup calls. So if there's an incident at the high school, our officers that think they might need some backup, they will call for another. And so, but everyone logs their time and what they've been doing, if that makes sense to you. So they are a little different. This one says assault on. They break theirs down an assault and assault on staff. So that's where that comes. It is down significantly this year, which is good. Not significantly, but it is down, which is good, and we're happy about that. I pulled vaping. Let me talk to you a little bit about vaping. Probably more than you want to know. But I pulled vaping out of there because it was very distorted in the chart. We installed vape detectors last year. And when we first got them, they went off if you breathed funny. And so it took some time to get those. And to be quite honest, the kids didn't know. That was kind of the whole point. And it wasn't, we were just trying to control behavior because you're not supposed to be doing that. So last year we had over 1,000 calls for service for vaping, and that may have been, you go and you don't find anything. But this year we're down to a little bit, well, quite a bit, 162. But I want to clarify that the kids have gotten smarter about where the vape detectors are located, but that's okay, I've ordered 8 more for next year. And they have figured out a way to hide it. It's called fading. Blow it into their shirt, blow it into their sleeve. The product now even is odorless, smokeless, you don't even know. And it looks like highlighters, they look like little pins. So it's an industry that's causing us a lot of grief. We're trying to get ahead of it. Springfield won't even touch putting vape detectors in because it's just kind of out of control, but we have really tried to deter it. our numbers of THC are up significantly with that too, so. If you were vaping, and it did have THC tested positive, we test all of those each, like on site right then when it happens, that would be posed as a drug violation rather than vaping, if that makes sense to you too, so. I just wanted, I mean, yes, it looks like we're doing a great job on vaping, but not really. Sorry. We do have a little increase in vehicle crashes, and that would make sense because we have a lot of commuting going from here to the OIC. Questions on any of this? Sorry. I'm getting long-winded, sorry.
Please don't apologize, this is important.
Well, I also wanted, this is one of my favorite slides because it's a positive note. We have 6,131 students. 4,931 of those have never been to the office. They have 0 incidents. So that's 80%. Yeah, it is something. You have 655 kids that have had one, and that could be anything. That could be a fight, or it could be, I forgot my badge. So those are pretty good numbers. That kind of goes right along with the RTI, which is response to intervention model that we use here at Ozark, the upside down triangle, if you will, which talks about 80% of the kids are on that tier 1, and so that falls right in line with how that works. So. Questions on that?
That's the number you were looking for, Ken.
Yes, that was the number we were looking for. Yeah. And Dr. Carson, that was the one, repeated offenders, you had 545 of those. We're working on that. This is just, a lot of talk about bullying, training, and prevention. I just put a few of the things that we do have in place here for staff. Dr. Carson did a curriculum conversation that involved a lot of cyberbullying the other night. That was very interesting. That is a link if you want to watch that YouTube video. I highly suggest it. It's very good, especially if you have kids anywhere from 6th grade on up. Our counselors do a good job of lessons in the classroom in October. That is kind of our go-to month, and then they hit it again at the beginning of the school year, or at the beginning of the second semester. The tip line, and I've got a slide on that next, is a very valuable tool, and it helped today. Very, very important. Stop, walk, and talk is one of those things that we start when they're little in elementary school. Teach them to, if somebody is being mean to you or bullying you, you stop. You tell them to stop. Tell them to stop. We really implore kids to, hey, you tell somebody to stop. Then you walk away, and then you go talk to an adult and let them know what's going on. That's something we do in the elementary ages. Obviously that, doesn't work for high schoolers. Questions on any of those? This is my tip line. Actually, Dan takes care of that point. These are our totals, and we had probably 6 more today. So it is increasing, but that's okay. That's something we want to increase because it helps us, and we really implore from those kids to, if you see something, say something. Questions on the tip line? That number is on the website. You can be anonymous. We train kids on where it's at, how to do it, those kinds of things.
Does that count multiple reports of the same incident?
Tip lines.
All separate.
Those are all separate incidences.
No, maybe the same one, but it just counts every
Like that's
tip.
everyone's all on the same thing.
Those tips could also be, we have positive referral tips. So it could be a tip that someone says, hey, so-and-so's doing a great job. It could be, we get them often because they come to my phone as well, where some kids just putting in any kind of letters or putting in something that's maybe not appropriate. But I mean, it's all anonymous. It may not be a kid. It may be someone in the community who wants to just do that. You can't tell who they're from, but there are some that are absolutely pranks, and then like today, I mean, we have some very valid tips and they're great.
So do we have numbers on those, how many valid tips there are? Are they separated by incidences?
We have on everyone.
But if you act on them, they become another number, right?
Yes, if we acted on this tip and it ended up being a discipline consequence, then you're gonna have in your discipline a consequence number, but,
We wouldn't code a discipline incident though, saying that we got a tip line.
correct, correct.
We don't do that. But I will tell you, it saves a lot. It's valuable. This is just another slide on kind of some programming we do, PBIS. I know the middle school talked about theirs today. That kind of is an explanation of it. It's just basically common language, common expectations. It's, we do it in the elementary through middle school. For those younger kids, if you've taken your tours to the elementaries and you see everybody, let's do a tiger hold, and that's just the way they walk down the hall, or, you know, our voice level in the library is a 1 or a 0, but outside, you know, our voice level is high. It's just those kind of common expectations. We have the bus buddy program because we do have some bus discipline at times, and that's helping with that. Go Guardian is a tool that we use on our Chromebooks, since kids are on their Chromebooks pretty much all day. If they look up something naughty, or if there is something that alerts a self-harm, and that can be anything. They're doing a report and they want to know how to tie a certain knot, that flags a self-harm. The administrator goes and talks, you know, sees what they're looking at, sees what's going on, and then they find out that, hey, this one just, it is what it is. We have had one of those that did, I can only remember one that really surfaced me as something that really was cleaning something, so. We have behavior interventions at the elementary level, hours, RTI meetings pretty much throughout the district with a diversion specialist. What that does is it works with the courts with some of our juveniles before they get a juvenile officer, trying to keep them out of that system. A lot of that is a science class at the junior high and the high school, and then we just have specialized programming that could be anything from our stroke class to our opportunities class, those kinds of things. Questions? And the last one is just a review of our board policies. Are those the ones you clicked on and you couldn't get?
Yes.
Yeah, they're just, I'm sorry, those are just straight from the website. So, yeah, they're just not working, sorry.
No, it works tonight.
Oh, well, they're fixed. And I did just put, that is straight from our board policy, the definition of bullying, just so you have it. Questions? I love to talk, I can sit out here all night.
I just thought it'd be good to provide some reassurance, because the Springfield MNEA has had such a public observation time of what's happened as a result of some kind of implementation of PBIS, and somehow done away with other kinds of consequences. And those schools, I have friends who are still teachers there, just barely, it's unimaginable. How many, oh yeah, often they will say, yeah, a kid kicked me today, or punched me in the gut, or threw a chair, or the class had to evacuate the classroom. I mean, even the NEA made it very public and clear at a board meeting in Springfield about that. So I just, like, we can see the results of what has happened after they've had that in place for a long time, or implemented it wrongly. I don't know what it is, but I wanted some kind of reassurance that that's not happening here in Ozark, or that what we're doing to keep that from happening. It makes me really concerned here. There's a lot of workman's comp claims from that kind of stuff. So what's going to keep Ozark from deteriorating like that? Because we have a great school district. We want to protect that.
Yes, you're exactly, we are not immune. We are not immune. And I think the gentleman that spoke earlier talked about our society, and I do think there's just been a societal shift in a lot of things. And so, you know, these teachers and administrators are doing their very best to keep everyone safe. That's our number one priority. And everybody here has a vested interest. I mean, I've got kids in the district, all these people have kids in the district, so we want the best for everybody's kid.
Oh, I'm sorry if I accidentally implied that we did.
Oh, no,
I know you do.
Yeah, but we are not immune to that, so for me to stand up here and say that doesn't ever happen, that's not true either. But we try to prevent that at all costs.
Maybe it's worth it to come up with some different proposals or some examinations of what is going to be different than the districts who have tried things, but what are we doing differently, or what do we need to do if we're not already? So that we are more into it. We can say what we tolerate in the classroom. I mean, everybody's entitled to an education. I'm a teacher, and I believe in even the person who's the most discouraged is I just can't do that. Oh, yes, you can. Okay. You know. But some people aren't learning if they're being disruptive in class and they're bringing everybody else's chance to learn. I mean, what is our option? What do we tolerate in our classroom?
I would think a teacher does her best, and that's where your administrators and teachers work together to, if a student needs to be removed, to reset, refocus, or if there is an incident that needs to be reported, and they go by board policy and those consequences are incurred.
Do we have ISS rooms still?
Yes,
Do we have OSS, we have school suspension, is that very frequent?
Yep.
It was in those numbers, the OSS were on there.
I thought so, but so why are there 15 incidences of the same student being?
Well, those students who has 15 instances would most likely have they are most likely in a high trauma type classroom, a classroom that has highly trained teachers to deal with kids who have those kind of behaviors that we're still trying to teach and keep here. And so we may send them home, then other laws kick in and we'll bring them back because they may have some type of a behavior disability, or they could have experienced, could be from foster care, and they've had horrendous trauma. And we are just trying to keep them at school as much as we can. And those aren't in your middle school, junior high, high school. Those may be kindergartners who are kicking kids. And so we're retraining, we are highly trained teachers, but we're retraining the kids. We're trying multitudes of methods. We do use OSS liberally, more than we ever did when I was an early principal. We use OSS a lot. And our OSS numbers sometimes look out of whack for that set of kids. Because even with those incidences, they're getting consequences. But they come back into the system. It's just the way we have highly trained teachers for those particular rooms. And those are the ones that you're seeing that you have claims on. Because I have a dear friend in Springfield who every Sunday as we're making coffee and getting ready for church, she tells me the number of times she's been kicked, bit, hit. But she is in a classroom where every single one of her students are students who can't communicate, and they communicate by hitting, kicking, and I mean, that is the classroom she works in. And so she's
experienced that at just their standard.
Yeah, she's continually going to the nurse, and she does have some claims, and she loves those kids, and she still puts herself through that every single week because she loves the kids. But those kids deserve an education. It comes at a cost, though.
Does that education involve their parents being, I mean,
Yeah, so.
This isn't the place to discuss it.
Right.
There are options so that our teachers don't have to be kicked and hit and have chairs thrown.
Correct, and that is not the typical.
And our students don't have to evacuate the classroom because another student is out of control.
Yeah, And that's
Are you
why.
saying there's a state law that says?
Well, if you have an IEP and you've suspended someone longer than 10 days and it's related to their disability, then they have the right to come back to school because it's related to the disability. So that is federal law, it's not a state law. So we can't change that piece of it. Our principals work with students, our teachers work with students, our SPED department does a phenomenal job working through that. So they still get the consequence, but we have to have meetings with the parents. We all follow, it's legal, 100% legal.
And I want to emphasize again, so I'm an analyst. I like to analyze the problem, take it apart. So like sometimes they get carried away asking questions. I have no way at all saying anybody's not doing a good job. I admire our teachers so much for doing that, and administrators. And I just want to make sure we're doing all that we can do to give them that support. I mean, that's unconscionable. None of us would stand in a classroom and have chairs thrown at us or kids hitting. That's a daily occurrence. I mean,
In
that's,
Springfield, you're talking about.
yeah.
So we had behavior classrooms. And when I was a young administrator, I didn't have a building with a behavior classroom. And you do now.
Okay.
And it's in most school districts, most schools that have some type of behavior classroom because you have kids who are unregulated and it's all a part of their individualized education plan. And I tell you, it's a lot. For those teachers, it's a lot. And for those kids, they didn't sign up to be dysregulated. They didn't sign up to be out of control. They didn't sign up to have parents that were wackadoos.
Yeah.
And they come to school and they deserve the education as much as anybody. And it's sad for them. Kids didn't sign up for that. And we could go back the old days and beat them. And when I was a principal, we did corporal punishment. But you know what? That didn't work either, actually. It worked for some, it didn't work for all. These numbers show all. And we're doing our best to treat all according to board policy and to protect teachers in the process, make sure we have good training, make sure we're doing what's best for every child to get an education. The ones who are in a classroom who don't deserve to be disrupted, and the kid who is dysregulated because their home life is a disaster. And we do something for every one of them.
I have a lot more to say about that, but we're going to have to discuss.
Sure.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you very much for putting that together for our meeting.
Superintendent report and legislative issues.
I will just quickly say to be aware of Senate Bill 727. There is a lot in there that is good for education, but it is a huge bill that has other impacts on other areas. And even what is good for education always comes at a cost somewhere else. So I would just be aware of Senate Bill 727, and I can send you, because I know I need to send it to Mr. Gregory, some information about that bill. I would be happy to do that. And then Assistant Superintendent's report, I'm good.
I really appreciate meeting with Jamie Gregg. Thank you, Dr. Carson and Dr. Chesick for meeting with Jamie Gregg and Mike Moon and Bob Titus. We had some really good visits, so really enjoyed going to the Capitol. It was this past Tuesday.
Any assistant superintendent reports that you reviewed? On to future dates.
Are we having a town hall in April? Is that on there?
Yes, we're changing conversations with the board.
Oh, sorry. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Can you say a little bit about that? It's a little bit different format this time. I'm very excited that April 22nd, conversations with the board.
Yes, we're excited. We know that. Go ahead.
That's great. No, I just
Why
looked.
don't you speak about it?
No, go ahead. You go ahead. It's great, yeah.
It's just going to be a little more intimate, instead of having the panel discussion where you are sitting in front of everybody. I see it more as a meet and greet, come and have a conversation, ask questions, maybe also have some refreshments, but it's just to build rapport with the community versus being separated from the community.
Okay, going through our future dates, April 16th is long-range planning, April 18th is elementary tour, April 22nd, like I said, conversations with the board, April 30th, curriculum conversation, open discussion about artificial intelligence. It's a big topic.
I invite all of you to come. I invite any of you to come to talk about artificial intelligence and just your concerns. It's really an open discussion. The presentation is not maybe just about what is artificial intelligence, but it's really just a conversation about what are your concerns about it, what are your fears, what are the things about it that you love. And over the next few months, we're creating an artificial intelligence committee. So we will have board members on it, community members, parents, staff members, because we need to make sure our policies are in line where they need to be and our procedures to match those policies. So this is the first step of that, and it's just an open conversation about artificial intelligence.
But may I add one thing to that? I will say that we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago that was led by Dr. Ferguson's area with technology on how they were educating us on what's already happening in teacher requests or to just various requests or to say, hey, we've got to find something, we've got to figure something out here that, like, wow, I didn't know that was a part of artificial intelligence. So our technology department is on top of it.
Yep.
May 9th is our board work session from 8 o'clock a.m. to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. May 17th graduation at Missouri State. That is at the Great Southern Arena, which we have seniors graduating. June 24th to 25th is MSBA Summer Summit at Chateau Lake in Branson. Next on the agenda is approving of the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the listed items within our consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Guy, second by Sarah. Any further discussion on any items? All in favor? Any opposed? None? Unanimous approval on consent agenda. Moving on to approval of Board of Education open session minutes from last meeting. I need a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Motion by Amber.
Second.
Second by Sarah. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimously approved. Next on the agenda, new business, approval of job descriptions.
Dean, would you like to hear a little bit about each one of them? Then I can have Dr. Sackington explain his job description, and then I can quickly change ours. Talk about ours.
We have a program called Tiger Care. It's before and after school care. I'd like to change the name of that title. It gets a little confusing when you have Tiger Paw Preschool and you've got Tiger Care. People confuse those things. I'd like to just clean that up a little bit, and so call it the before and after school care coordinator. So just a simple thing. Also, that person will now report to me. It was reporting at Tiger Paw, but that's really not an appropriate place for it to report. So it will report to me and work through me now. And so the job description was just tweaked a little bit to reflect reporting to me instead of Tiger Paw. So it's kind of separating it out from Tiger Paw. At Tiger Paw Preschool, we also have child care for babies through 2-year-olds. For school employees, and so it gets a little muddy there too. You have Tiger Care coordinator and child care coordinator, so we just need to clean up some of the titles to those things. Also, each of our schools, elementary schools, have a Tiger Care site lead. That's like a young adult who's kind of over the other young adults. And so we have been calling them a coordinator. They're not really a coordinator, they're more of a lead. So all my changes are really just basically cleaning up some things that I think will bring a little bit more clarity to people.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the business office assistant, currently, Barbara is in that position, and she is moving as soon as we can get someone hired to be the assistant in my office. And currently, she does accounts payable, payroll, and then odds and ends that we give her to do as time allows. And as we have looked at the new CFO coming in and the personalities and the job descriptions that we have currently, we just want to make it a little bit, we want to change the job just a little bit to be more inclusive, that she can do, this person will do more payroll, but also that they can, if we have a project in accounts payable, they can do that. If there's a project in finance, they can do that. So we're just, like he said, just cleaning it up just a little bit to what we need, and hopefully make it, I think there was a couple of lines in there where we tried to make it a little more broad, that they could do a little more finance for us.
Okay, we have a motion for, I need a motion for approving the 2 job descriptions as presented. Amber in first, Dustin in second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Approval of meal prices for adults.
We've just finished up our food service audits, and multiple of those. Cheryl Johnson, our food service director, well, I'd say she wouldn't be here. She would like to sit next to me and support me in presenting, but she unfortunately had a family emergency and is out of state right now. But one of the things that they recommended was to come into compliance with we're just a few cents off. So we need to raise our adult breakfast prices and our adult lunch prices. We come to you in the spring or in the fall usually to set the prices. For students, we just need to bring this up to $2.30 to $3.45. Cheryl's confident that this would actually get us through next year, all the way through next year as well. So we would not bring adult recommendations to you next year, but we would still have to bring students, and that's based on a formula from the state and the federal government based on free and reduced lunch reimbursement from the federal government.
And I need a motion to approve the increased charges as presented.
So just to clarify, this is a requirement,
Yes.
so it's not even a discussion, right?
No, but the board has to set the price. Yes, yes, sir.
Motion by Guy to approve the changes. Second by Sarah. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Nutrition Prime vendor bills.
Sure, and I'm gonna stand up for this one because there is a little presentation to this. We are required to bid out on everything that we bid. And if you can pull up yes. Food service. I know, it was kind of funky right there. And once again, I'd like to thank Jake and Masteron for sticking with the sound system. Appreciate you, sir. Food service. So every year, 3 years, we're actually asking for a 5-year at this point. This is a lot of work on our food service department. And so what we do is we send out bids to our local vendors that can support Ozark schools and large school districts in providing our food. As you see the numbers, $1.2 million worth of food comes into our kitchen and goes into our kit. Well, okay, 1.1 comes into the kitchen, 1.2 comes in, 1.1 goes into the kids. We have a little bit of waste in our broccoli there. But, sorry, I'm charging. But what we do is we send that out, and once we get that, we don't just say, what is your price for meat? What is your price for beef? What is your price for chicken? We put a lot of work into this, and we actually get as close to our actual numbers as we can. And we do a case count of our top items. So as you look at it, this is, for example, Apple's Red Delicious, 125 and 138 count. We go through 150 cases of those a year, approximately. We then type in the numbers for each of the vendors, and if there's a variance, as you can see with ham, the first place where you see the yellow line going across there, the yellow highlighted 9s, that says a 9 to 10 pound. We want to make sure that everybody is assured that everybody is comparing 9 pounds, so there's not a variance in, well, this vendor had 10 pounds, we had 9 pounds, and then if you go down a little bit further to where the number 10 pound is highlighted, That is, one of the items for one of the vendors submitted it as 20 pounds. So we divided it out, made sure that we were comparing apples to apples. And as you go to the next page, we did that for all the items. Net off inventory, our cooler items, our freezer items, our storage food, our storage paper and chemicals, and then the total bid amount. As you can see, BEK is Benny Keith. They are currently our vendor. They've been our vendor for the last 3 or 4 years. We're highly satisfied with them. Springfield Grocers, we've had them previously. We're highly satisfied with them, but they were higher. And then Graves is a newcomer, and we did not receive a bid back from PFG. I do want to highlight, and I wish Cheryl was standing here, this is one of the hardest bids to get. When we send out technology bids, we have a form, we send it out. We have every vendor that just wanting our business. Previously, we would get 1 or 2 bids back. So the fact that we have 3 shows how hard Leanne Sutterfield, our assistant, to Cheryl Johnson, our nutrition director, have worked on this. And then just to plug that data in and come up with a recommendation, I commend both of them. So our recommendation would be to go with Benny Keith for the next 5 years as our prime food provider.
Where's Benny Keith located?
So they are located.
Our corporate office in Florida, Texas, I'm here local, I'm in Ozark. My groceries come from Oklahoma City every night. We have 9 RSA drivers, all local, half of them live in Ozark, or children that go to school in Ozark, and the other half are scattered out around. So, yes, he comes out of Oklahoma City, but it's very local.
And that was honestly a concern. First of all, they are very responsive, and those trucks are here. I'm gonna make a comparison. They are here on time almost every time, and that's not always been the case. So they are here, so they're good. That's a good question. Thank you.
All right, I need a motion to approve the vendor, Benny Keith.
Motion approved.
A second.
We have a motion, James, second by Guy. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Moving on to milk vendor approval.
Yes, so we usually do this a little bit later, but in the years that we do the bids, we bring it up to at the same time. Really, we sent it out, we had 2 bids come in. We do have a requirement that the milk is rotated by the supplier, and we get credit for expired milk. That's part of our bid. We only had 1 qualified bid come in, so it's our recommendation to approve Highland Dairy as the 24-25 vendor for Ozark Schools.
We have a motion to approve Highland Dairy. Motion by Sarah. As a second, all in favor? Unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Next is to approve MOU with Sheriff's Department.
So I would actually like to use this as a first read versus approving, so that we can go back and you can look at it, and I have asked him to explain, because not everybody understands how our school resource works and what school resource officers work in conjunction with the sheriff's department. So she'll give an explanation. We'll go back, and any question that you have about it, we will try to address throughout the month and then bring it back to you.
I was looking for the MOU with the sheriff, and the sheriff didn't have a copy of it, we didn't have a copy of it, so we asked him to create one. He sent us this MOU, we sent it to our attorney, and that's what you see tonight. I do think there are some questions, but just to kind of clarify, we have an MOU with the sheriff so that our SRO officers are commissioned by him. That is our relationship with him. We do not pay for anything. There's no money exchanged in this MOU. We pay for our vehicles, we pay for our uniforms, we pay for all of our equipment, he does not incur any cost in that. That is our agreement with him. Questions?
So where does the SRO's salary come from?
We pay for that, the district.
And I thought you just said we don't pay for that.
We don't pay for any MOU. There's no money in exchange because of
Just
this
part of
stuff.
salaries.
This is just an agreement that our officers are commissioned by the sheriff. The reason for that is having officers commissioned by the sheriff, they, anything that happens in the county, they can respond to. So if there is a problem with a student at home, if they get a call, they will call one of our people first. If it's, during the school day, that kind of thing. Otherwise, like in some districts, your SRO, their ability to enforce the law stops at the sidewalk of the school. They don't have any jurisdiction there. So this enables us to have jurisdiction throughout the county. Does that make sense?
So you said, okay, so they're commissioned by the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
Are they commissioned by the sheriff now?
Yes. I'm sorry?
Are they commissioned by the sheriff currently?
Yes, yes, sir.
What not an MOU?
Correct. There was an MOU in place at some point, but
So
either party can.
you're saying the MOU commissions them, but they're already commissioned?
But this is our document in agreement with the sheriff. Yeah, we'd like to make it official.
Right, okay.
And I didn't have a copy of this, so that they fall under my umbrella, so I would like to make it official with them for you.
No, that's fine. I mean, there are some clerical things I saw here, but it looks, and there's some kind of question marks on the rights of the sheriff, and rights and views of the district. It's a little confusing. Under rights of the sheriff, it talks about that they'll be equipped in the same manner as the sheriff's office, but then that seems to indicate that the sheriff pays for that, but then it indicates that we pay for that. So I think we need to clarify that in here, so it's not.
Okay. Do you want that moved under?
I've got a lot of marks here, so I don't know, maybe we can look at it afterwards.
Honestly, this came from Sheriff Cole's office and then to our attorney.
So I think also it talks about dismissal of school resource deputy. We're paying for them, but here, if you read that paragraph 5, it basically says that the sheriff may terminate if they decide he wants to.
Well, they'll terminate the commission.
That is correct.
Right, but we need to have a little more authority since we're actually paying for the whole thing here. I mean, so I think all the money is basically from us, but the MOU gives the power to the sheriff. I mean, I'm not all for the sheriff, but I'm just saying we need to have the appropriate authority based on the money that we're allocating. So I can share my notes after, or tomorrow, or whatever.
We all get to comment on it over the next month, right? This is the first reading, and it's coming back next month for final discussion.
Yes, and definitely, send us a note to come in and then meet with Kim, and we'll compile everything and get it back to you for the second reading.
We can have a discussion on this maybe during our workday.
We can. Yes, we can.
I also noticed the reference to exhibit, the job description isn't included. So I think you need to include that. Also, so I know there's no funding allocated to the sheriff, but this does tie up funding. So to me, we can discuss this in the meeting, but what's the actual funding requirement here? So.
We can bring that to you also.
With all that covered tonight, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn back to closed
Back to
session.
closed session. Motion to adjourn by Sarah, second by Dustin. All in favor of adjourning to go back to closed session?
We'll go back to the other building.